Well, a stable coin is a type of digital currency that's basically designed to minimize price volatility. In a traditional stable coin, it's based on the popularity of the stable coin, the value, and it fluctuates considerably depending on the level of popularity.
You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
And welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. Well, it's July 1st. We're halfway through the year. The crypto space is moving so rapidly, you can't believe it. You ignore it at your own peril. I was at the Bitcoin 2025 conference in Vegas, brought to you either by BlackRock or Blackstone. I can't remember which one, but it doesn't really matter. There's huge money behind this. It wasn't in the convention center. It was in the Venetian, and the booths I saw ranged anywhere from 100,000 to multiple seven figures. And a trend that we picked up on is the stable coin. And right now with us is Gerson Gibbs, executive at Bellet Capital and expert in stablecoins in crypto. Gerson, what's the deal here? Retailers are going to start taking stable coins. They're going to issue their own. How's this working?
Retailers, thank you for having me, Kerry. But retailers, to answer your questions, are definitely, in my opinion, shifting towards stablecoin. I believe that it's going to assist them with dropping liabilities a little bit. All these associated fees with credit card transactions can be a bit costly for our retailers. And when we see all these things occurring with the tariffs and possible price increases, I think that retailers are going to be looking for any areas in their business that they can reduce any type of cost. And I think that stable coins are one of those areas.
Well, many people out there believe that credit card clearinghouses and credit card issuers, it's just a big extractive grift to take money from small retailers because, let's face it, the government doesn't pay credit card fees. Large retailers, even they are, I don't want to say exempt from it, but their fees are drastically reduced, right? So right. The small retailer, the medium-sized retailer is really bearing the brunt of all this, aren't they?
Absolutely. I think that that's the business model for a lot of these credit card companies. For the target audience are the smaller and mid-sized retailers. I think that those are the companies that pay a bulk of the fees, and they're just looking to get away from that. And I think this is an opportunity. There are many different means of payment processing. You got things like PayPal. You have these digital apps on telephones that you're utilizing to pay, but those are still tied to credit cards, and that's where the issue begins. So I think these stable coins will definitely assist with that.
All right. So, I guess you got to explain exactly what a stable coin is, how it works, and how it cuts costs.
Okay. Well, a stable coin is a type of digital currency that's basically designed to minimize price volatility. In a traditional stable coin, it's based on the popularity of the stable coin, the value, and it fluctuates considerably depending on the level of popularity. A stable coin is a digital currency that is typically pegged to a stable asset like a US dollar or gold. It's typically dollar for dollar. And the difference is from a credit card company is the speed processing. And because these things are pegged to a network, all the transactions and fee costs are almost eliminated, right? Because these are companies like a Discover or a Chase. They don't have the overhead expenses So they have to charge these fees. With stable coins, there's no fees. Everything's on a network on these digital exchanges. And that's how they manage to determine what the value of the stable coin is. So a stable coin is simply put more of think of a gift card. If you were to put money on a Starbucks gift card, but you can use the Starbucks gift card anywhere in the world to purchase any product.
Mm-hmm. Interesting here. Really interesting. So, yeah, like, what does the name stablecoin mean exactly?
Stability. There's no volatility. So, for example, if you were to have Ethereum Bitcoin, the value is going to change. We've seen as the market was changing, or if Trump is making an announcement, a Bitcoin that was worth $1,000 all of a sudden is worth $20,000 because of popularity. And there's no really rationale as to the volatility outside of popularity. Right. So if there's negative press surrounding the Bitcoins, there's a drop in the price. And that is the difficulty in determining the value. So what Senate has decided is to create a digital currency that doesn't have as much volatility. And that's why it's called stablecoin, because it's stable. Right. It's pegged to something that's a real asset, like a dollar to dollar. So it's not going to change based on popularity. And that assists retailers, right? Because if retailers are, utilizing stablecoin, they want to make sure that they can actually determine the value of the stablecoin when they're utilizing it for transactions. And that's one of the issues that we've had with regard to this digital currency space, that it was based on popularity opposed to a real asset.
Gotcha. Okay. And so when we look like Bitcoin, how does that differ from a stable coin?
Well, Bitcoin is not backed by a hard asset. It's based on popularity. If individuals feel that the value of Bitcoin is more valuable, the value of it is going to go up. And as more individuals invest into it, you'll see the value increasing. Unlike a stable coin, it doesn't matter the popularity. You're putting up the money or the collateral, and that's giving you the value of your stable coin, and there will be no fluctuations. That's the difference.
So you could have a stable coin that could be backed by Bitcoin, couldn't you?
Correct. And that would have some fluctuations if you're utilizing your Bitcoin to buy stable coin. And that's where there's a little bit of gray area. And Congress is trying to wrap their hands around it before actually passing the bill by the House, because if people are utilizing Bitcoin to back stablecoin, there's still that fluctuation. So there has to be laws surrounding those type of transactions.
Okay. Interesting. So you were a regulator. You dealt with the big banks. What do you think the barriers are here?
Regulation, like one of the things about digital currency, why it's attractive to a lot of individuals, is because of the privacy features associated with it. All right. So because of the privacy features, for investors and individuals who don't want the government having full transparency over their financials and investments, they take the digital currency angle. In addition to that, they don't want bank involvements in their financials as much as it currently is, because if you're banking with a Chase, it's totally different than than having your money in a digital currency. And one of the major issues is, how do you regulate these things? How do you oversee it? How do you prevent fraud? And if there's so much privacy, how does the government get an opportunity to oversee? So that's where the real issue is. And who's going to be the regulator that oversees it? Bitcoin, again, is not backed by any hard assets or real assets, but stablecoin is. Depending on the asset that it's being backed by, for example, if we take the dollar, the Fed oversees the dollar, right? If we take gold, the CFTC oversees gold. If the digital currency is utilized as an investment product, because you have the ability to invest in it also and turn it into an investment vehicle. The SEC oversees that. So digital currency has features of all the regulatory bodies. So the government is trying to determine who's going to lead the regulation over digital currencies. And that's one of the major issues right now.
Gotcha. All right. So we're kind of in the Wild West here then, aren't we?
Absolutely.
All right. So when we have this conversation in 5 years, what is the landscape going to look like here?
Oh, I think it's going to be figured out way before then.
Mm-hmm.
I think that with the new administration coming in, that was one of the primary goals, to bring digital currency to the forefront. I think it improves international trade. I think it reduces fees for retailers, mid to small retailers, especially with regard to tariffs that are now changing the cost of goods. I think that retailers are looking for places to, again, reduce costs. And I think it's going to play out with digital currencies in a sense that it's going to assist with reducing some of these costs that credit cards processings are bringing, so on and so forth. So I believe in 5 years, this will be the norm. It will be the main use of financials and use of money. It'll be all digital.
All right. And so what impact is this going to have on the banks?
Well, it's going to have banks change their models. That's what I believe. I think traditional banking is never going to go away, but I think it's going to be an added feature to change their models, to restructure their pricing models and their fee models. I think they're going to figure out a way, but I think the traditional approach of the processing fees, the 3% and up, I think that model is going to change and be reduced tremendously.
All right. So we're into a whole new realm of finance here that JP Morgan, God rest his soul, never ever thought about. You know?
Absolutely. I'm sure this wasn't even a thought back in the day, but now I think it's becoming a norm, and we see it all the time. We actually have been in some kind of a digital space for some time now with companies like PayPal. You have companies like Chime. You have these credit card companies that are giving you the ability to not have the physical credit card and have things on your phone. I think in some way, shape, or form, we've been shifting to digital currency. I went to the store a couple of days ago and I tried to pay cash, but I didn't have any cash on me. I just use my credit cards. I don't usually carry cash. So I think that we've been transitioning into this space for some time now. I think that now we're actually looking at its worldly impact and making the necessary changes to implement it into the United States as best as possible.
That really is fascinating that we're seeing this transition occur, and we're living through it, right?
Yeah. It's coming out of an era and into a new era. I believe that, again, this is going to be the main way that we pay for our products in the United States via digital currency.
Hmm. Interesting. It's just it's the economy's not what it used to be, right?
Not at all. Not at all. And I think that the younger generation is definitely pushing towards it. I think that this administration is very involved in the digital space. Trump has his own coin. His family is highly involved in the space. And I believe, again, he believes that it's going to open up international business and be lucrative for smaller to mid-sized businesses in the United States.
Yeah, well, that's pretty amazing. And Trump's moves with crypto have been very controversial. You get that emoluments clause, and all that stuff. Got any thoughts about that?
Well, I think that Trump's administration is extremely controversial because of what I mentioned a little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. Bitcoin is based on the popularity the value of it is based on popularity.
Yeah.
And that's a huge issue. If you're the president of the United States, you're one of the most popular people in the world.
Mhm.
So if you speak on, Bitcoin or speak on digital currencies in any manner, it could go in any direction. And I think that Congress had a major issue with that, hence the creation of a stablecoin, which doesn't necessarily get impacted by, the president providing the world with new information with relation to it. So I think that, the controversy surrounding that was, how do we control these popular politicians from providing the general public with information that's going to shift the value of something that they own, right? Putting the political system in a bit of jeopardy because they have no control over the political figures. So I think it was a bit controversial. However, I think that it needed to be done in order for a little bit of fire to be put under the government to ensure that it's regulated correctly and they're thinking about all of the features associated with digital currency.
All right. Well, that's interesting. And obviously, Trump is the best thing that ever happened to crypto in our lifetimes.
For now, we'll see what the future beholds. But for now, Trump definitely is one of the pioneers in the crypto space and incorporating it into modern day financials.
And who would think, guy that doesn't even use a computer, right?
Absolutely. It's always the person that people would have never thought or assumed. And again, I think that it assists because the push that he's doing with tariffs is definitely raising the prices on some of these smaller and mid-sized companies. But with the passing of the digital stablecoin, I think it could drop a lot of processing fees and balance out some of the costs that have increased to do business in the United States.
Right. All right. Well, this is fascinating. Appreciate your coming on with us and helping to share your knowledge with what's happening here. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you so much for having me, Curry. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Hey, people want to find out more about you, connect with you on the web. How do you do that, Gerson?
Definitely. My website is www.belite, BELITE, capital, CAPITAL.com. You can find me there.
All right. Excellent. I appreciate you coming on, and we'll look forward to having you on again. If you got a question for Gerson, myself, shoot me an email, kl@kerrylutz.com, and you'll find links to Gerson's places on the web on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Just when you go there, we just ask that you sign up for a free newsletter. Gerson, been a pleasure. Thanks for stopping by.
Been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day, Kerry.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.